Welcome to A Better HR Business, the podcast that looks at how HR consultants and HR tech firms grow their businesses and how they help their employers to get the best out of their people. Remember, for show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Okay, let's get started.
Hello and welcome back. Nice to have you along. Today, I'm chatting with the very impressive Sean Fahey. Sean is the CEO and founder of VidCruiter. Now, VidCruiter is a very cool video recruitment and online hiring solutions platform. So we've got a lot to cover there. Sean, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
And whereabouts are you based?
I'm based in, so is VidCruiter, in Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada, on the east coast of Canada.
Excellent. Excellent. Beautiful part of the world. So really looking forward to learning about VidCruiter and what you do and so on. But first, can you give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Sure. So I've been an entrepreneur all of my life. I started multiple different kinds of businesses. I've lived in multiple places around the world, from Europe to the US and back and forth across Canada. And this was my third business that I started, but my first software company. And VidCruiter started in 2009 as an idea, and we officially launched in 2012.
Excellent. Excellent. Where did you live in Europe?
I was actually there for 3 months and on a sort of touring all around Europe. I spent some time in Ireland, actually, the south of France. I lived there for a month, Germany for a month. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And one of the three businesses, or one of the two businesses you started before VidCruiter, was one of them a lemonade stand, or what was that?
Well, almost. It was a belt stand selling belts and belt buckles and kiosks and malls.
Wow.
That would have been my first small business. And it actually was quite successful. It grew to 30 employees and 13 locations with the stands. And it was just a school project, but it was kind of fun.
That's fantastic. Wow. What kind of lessons did you learn? I'm just curious about this before we get into VidCruiter. What did you learn from that?
Well, it's a lot of hard work. There's only 24 hours in a day, and retail is not the best business to be in when you're competing against Amazon and these kinds of organizations.
So very cool. So what led you to the formation of VidCruiter? Why did you start it, and how did it begin?
I was transitioning between businesses and working for an insurance company, and they asked me to help them hire 200 people as fast as possible. Now their plan was 5 years. And I said, well, what if we could do 200 hires in 30 days or something like this, And I started thinking about that concept of how would I hire a lot of people very quickly. And that's when VidCruiter was born.
Early in my days, I did lots of graduate recruitment. So, rooms full of people doing online not online assessments. They were sitting at desks, actually, filling out competency tests and things like that. And then you had panel discussion interviews and all kinds of things. But that's a slow process. So how did you work out how we're going to run through 500 people in 30 days?
Yeah. So the key to that was sort of to reverse engineer what happens at every single step of a recruitment process. From filtering to pre-screening, screening, qualifying, meeting in person, checking references. And then what we did at the time, or I did with my business partner, was let's look at every single stage of a recruitment process and look at two main variants. How can we increase the speed of that stage, but also increase the quality of the people that go through that process or stage? Because you can increase speed very easily. If you said, how do I hire 500 or 200 people? Just every single person that applies to the job, send them an email saying you're hired and you've done the job. You can hire them in a day. But how do you increase quality and speed? That's the challenge, because usually adding quality reduces speed.
Absolutely.
So the premise for VidCruiter was built around that concept: speed and quality improvements at every stage. And analyzing all the different stages of recruitment, you'll find that video interviewing could dramatically help the screening and sort of qualifying, sort of that phone interview or in-person interview, the first one, or a video conference now. So we focused on those stages first, as our first product set was around video interviewing.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because, as you say, you can get volume through and speed. But I remember seeing one business owner and he showed me his hiring process, and that was a Google form which fed into a Google sheet. And then he did a count of how long did they answer each question. If it didn't hit a certain character length, they were automatically disqualified. And I think it triggered an email to say you've not been hired. And then the rating of certain skills they gave themselves at a 10. If it didn't hit a certain number, they're out as well. It wasn't the best method. It was very impressive in terms of using Zapier or technology, but not in terms of quality. So when I said at the start that VidCruiter is a video recruitment and online hiring platform, what does that mean to the average person?
It's a tool to use to help you increase the speed and the quality of the people that you hire. That's what I would say to the average person.
Okay, so walk us through the product.
So there's a series of products, and what we do is we complement anything that an organization already has. So if they already have an applicant tracking system, we can plug into one. If they don't, we actually have our own applicant tracking system. If they use a skill testing or personality profile test, we can work in combination with that. If they don't have one, we also have those modules that they can purchase. Our core products are the video interviewing solution. We have two different kinds. One where people record at home and do what's called the pre-recorded interview or one-way interview. And I always like using Netflix as an analogy for that product. So you're not actually interacting with someone. You're not having a conversation with them. They're recording at home on their own time. And then you review that afterwards and determine, are they qualified? So that's our pre-recorded tool. We also do video conferencing with auto scheduling. So the candidates can automatically schedule a time that you've predetermined to meet with them. And it automatically books your video conference. And we also do the auto scheduling for in-person evaluations and then automated reference checking. And so we have clients that come and purchase any one of those 6 or 7 products that we have, depending on how you set them up, for the exact requirements of speed and quality. So we have clients that use Workday and we plug into that, or SAP. And then we have clients that use our full stack of products that are more small businesses. They use everything that we offer.
That's excellent. So there's a range of what do you call them, modules or add-ons, such as the assessments, personality assessments, things like that. Or there are internal tools or modules that they can use. I noticed, for instance, that there were structured interview questions. Is that built in, or is that something where you would add on as a module?
So that's a great question. So we do have, all of our products are built around what a structured interview methodology, which means that everyone's interviewed the same way, under the same circumstances, evaluated the same way. So you can use our you could use your own structured interview guides in our product while watching a video or in a video conference, or we can have our IO psychologists help develop some for you if you don't have any. With the structured interview product, you can even use that for in-person interviewing. So we actually do digital in-person interviewing as well, where someone walks in the door and on your phone or tablet or computer, you're doing your evaluations for that person directly in the product.
And are you finding that the integrations with other tech solutions is helping you grow the business?
Oh, definitely. We try to integrate with as many different applicant tracking systems as possible. I think there's over a dozen now that we're integrating with, and those range from all the big players to even some other smaller ones. But yeah, partnerships is key to our business.
I've certainly noticed that from talking with other HR tech companies, that's often their number one channel. It's when they can connect on the back end and access groups of customers, clients, and scale that way, which sort of leads me on to when you were first setting up VidCruiter and starting to bring customers in the door, clients in the door. How did you do that? What sort of approaches did you take then, and how has that evolved over time?
We've always had a customer first approach. So VidCruiter's entire business model is revolved around customer service. And when we first started, we found that oftentimes people in HR don't always get high customer service for technology tools that they purchase. If you're a computer programmer and you buy a technology tool, it's what you use every day. It's common for you to use that. So the learning curve is quite simple. And so what we did early on is decide that we would offer unlimited training to everyone in HR who would ever purchase any product of ours. We did that because we wanted to make sure that those first clients were super happy. And we ended up keeping that business model. And so we always, every 20 to 30 clients we get, we hire another person. And so the ratio of customer service reps who help implementation and help you use VidCruiter to the ratio of clients is amongst the best in the industry. And that has been one of the keys of success for VidCruiter. If you look at our NPS score on G2 and compared to our competitors, we're actually ranked as the top in the world for enterprise and in the top 2 for NPS score for all video interview softwares in the world. As some of the best customer service, because you literally get as much service as you want. We don't limit any time. Every user has a different adoption level of technology, different understanding levels. So, there's no one size fits all training program. So we give unlimited training and unlimited customization and implementation for every single client, to a point now where the ratio of customer service people to sales in our organization is 50-1. So more than 50% of the staff at VidCruiter work on helping customers use our product and making sure they understand every feature. And the reason for that is our product is very customizable. So we make sure that the tool is designed specifically to your HR needs for your organization. And we walk you through that and actually do all the building for you so that you just plug and play. And after it's configured, you just click 2 buttons and launch. It's very easy for the client. So we do sort of all the heavy lifting.
Nice. That typically would scare a tech leader or a product leader in a business when the CEO comes and says, let's make this as customizable as possible, right?
Yeah, you mean internally?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's been a challenge to, give customization, which increases the technical difficulty. But luckily what happened is when we first started our beta product in 2009, we realized that we had built it for 3 years, but the original product and vision didn't have core functionality of customization. And so in 2012, we actually put in the garbage, for the lack of a better term, our entire product and started again from scratch with a framework that would enable customization that would not make it difficult to program. And that was the key, was being able to say, well, if it doesn't work, start over. And we did. And so this way, that framework is extremely easy to use for a client, extremely easy to build off, but it took 3 years of thinking to get to that level.
It's funny. I was listening to a podcast. It was called the Rejection Podcast yesterday. And it was the story of Netflix. And when they were beginning, they had product sales. I think they were taking in DVDs and selling them back or something. I can't remember but it was responsible for about 90% of their revenue. And they realized, no, we've got to go digital. We've got to go online now. And so they dumped that whole product line, which was a huge decision. So to hear you say that you had to put something into the garbage and rebuild things so that it was more customizable and more attractive and put the customer at the center, I think that's probably scary at the time, but it's probably paying dividends now, right?
Exactly. It is a little scary, but yeah. We were a startup and it was sort of, what are you going to do? So it was just what the client needed. And so we did it.
Yeah. No, it's great advice for someone listening to this. Always keep the client or the customer at the center of it all. What about getting early customers? Was that just knocking on doors, referrals, building on your network? How did you go about that?
The very first 4 or 5 clients were knocking on doors in Toronto. I was living there at the time. And that got us in the door, got us initial feedback. And then after that, we just focused on getting a really good website that would explain the product, the concept, that would be the search engine optimization. And now we focus most of our leads on inbound and referrals from resellers and partners.
Got it. And when you say inbound, for people listening, it's obviously people coming to the site, inbound as opposed to outbound sales. So I notice on the website, you've got a ton of great content, resources, buyer guides, information for people who are trying to make decisions about hiring platforms to use and how to choose the right one. But you've also got top of the funnel stuff, which educates. How do you work out what to cover, what to talk about, what would be useful, and how to get the word out there about that content?
We listen to clients and hear what challenges they're having. Right now, we're actually doing a whole piece on myths of video interviewing, because there's some myths for the applicant benefit.
Oh, yeah.
So we're trying to target every person. A lot of people in our industry only target sort of maybe senior leadership we're writing pieces and articles for applicants' benefits, for HR's benefit, for the hiring manager's benefit. It comes back to sort of that holistic approach, is that we want to help everyone improve the hiring process, even the candidates, which sometimes are a little bit left aside. So we have a team dedicated just to writing stuff to educate candidates, as well as just the rest of the people involved.
It's amazing that the number of companies that forget about the candidate because they're not paying the bills, but then they get their jobs and suddenly they are paying the bills.
Right.
So yeah, it's a two-way street. Are you doing any paid promotion, any advertising or anything like that?
I mean, yeah, we're on all the normal channels that you would find for HR technology, from Google to Bing and other websites that promote these kinds of things. But yeah, we try to be everywhere.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you have a reseller program. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because people listening to this would possibly be interested.
Yeah, I mean, our reseller program, as sort of discussed previously, is more of a referral program, but we treat them as resellers. So it's sort of a blend of both. But we do have a partnership team and a reseller team that assists in finding us interested people and taking a look at VidCruiter services. And yeah, we treat them as part of our sort of organizational team, basically.
Either an HR tech company or a consulting firm listening to this, if you have customers or clients who are in various sectors, because I know VidCruiter, you cover all sectors, I believe, or industries. If you have customers or clients who could potentially benefit from having an online approach to their hiring, then you could refer in VidCruiter and generate revenue as a result and help your clients or customers in that way. So it's often a clever way to add a bit of revenue to the business and serve your clients better.
There is no one organization that currently has all the products that we offer. So everyone can be our client. There's, some people may be using video, but they don't have reference checking, or vice versa. The only people that we've found that have all the products that we offer are just our clients. There's not that many vendors that do everything that we do.
Got it. Yeah. So I'm curious, you're in the HR space. What sort of changes do you see coming down the line in the HR and world of work?
Yeah, I mean, remote work is here to stay. That's just part and parcel of the new world that we live in. And tools to help with the different teams distributed in different parts of the world, which our tools are all built to help, would be the sort of main trend that I think is here to stay. There is some talk of AI in our industry, but it's still discriminatory at this time, which has been proven by multiple different sources. In terms of video analysis, there's other AI that can be used for other aspects of recruiting, but a video analysis AI is not ready for the market. And I don't see that changing in the next 2-3 years. It's still in its infancy. But generally speaking, the remote work and helping organizations structure, hire, work, and have the right tools for a remote work world would be what I would say is the next sort of tier of.
Very good. So, Sean, if someone listening to this has either someone they could sign up as a customer, or if they'd like to work with you as a referral partner or some other such relationship, what should they do next?
VidCruiter.com. We do have a partner section on our website that explains how partners can resell or become part of our ecosystem, and then sign up for a demo to see how the products work in action. Would be great for anyone who's interested in learning about the product itself and becoming a customer. And then or just signing up for our newsletter and keeping track, or even just adding me on LinkedIn. We promote a lot of things that we're doing and best practices on my LinkedIn, and the new articles that we're doing, whether it helps applicants or just those would be the 3 ways, depending on what level of interest you have.
Excellent. All right. Well, if you're listening to this, make sure you go and check it out at vidcruiter.com. But that just leads me to say, Sean, thank you very much for sharing your story and telling us a little bit about VidCruiter. I've really enjoyed it.
Ben, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us today on A Better HR Business, the podcast that explores the world of HR consulting and HR tech businesses. For show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Remember to subscribe and share the show with any friends who are busy growing a HR business. Thanks, and see you next time.